Welcome back to another explainer. I am so glad you're here today because we're looking at something that, let's be honest, we all deal with, a slow drain. It seems like just a minor annoyance, right? But what's actually happening beneath our sinks is a whole different story, and ignoring it can be a massive mistake. Let's get right into it.
So have you ever stood in ankle-deep water in the shower, or maybe watched your kitchen sink take literally 5 minutes to empty, and you just thought, I'll just wait it out? Yeah, we've all been there. You're just standing there brushing your teeth while the basin slowly fills up. But as our source material reveals today, that innocent little puddle, it's actually turned to tell you a much bigger and, honestly, a much more expensive story.
Which brings us to Section 1, the silent plumbing threat. You see, a sluggish drain is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. Look at these everyday culprits we've got here. We're talking hair, soap scum, grease, food bits, mineral deposits, the usual suspects. And it's so easy to just ignore them, right? Out of sight, out of mind. But down there in the dark, these materials are relentlessly building up. They stick to the pipe walls and physically shrink the diameter of the pipe itself. And when that happens, the water has no choice but to move slower, which, you guessed it, just encourages even more gunk to settle in the line. It's like a traffic jam that just keeps getting worse.
Moving on to Section 2, when minor clogs escalate.
Let's look at the actual timeline of how a backup forms. It's basically a 3-step decay. In Step 1, debris accumulation. That gradual slowdown means a partial block is already forming. Moving to Step 2, that reduced pipe diameter starts acting like a giant net. As the blockage grows, it just snags more and more debris passing by. And then, finally, we hit Step 3, the breaking point. That partial blockage captures enough stuff to turn into a total roadblock, and boom, the plumbing system completely fails.
Now, the real kicker here is exactly when these sudden failures happen. According to our sources, a clog that's been slowly getting worse week by week, it rarely gives out when the house is empty. Oh no, it fails during heavy usage. We're talking right after your dinner guests arrive, smack in the middle of meal prep, or when everyone's using the bathrooms at once. Suddenly, you're looking at a huge chance of a totally messy cleanup and severe property damage. At this stage, that cheap plastic drain snake you've bought at the hardware store just isn't going to cut anymore. You're probably looking at professional intervention, maybe clean-outs, or even having parts of your pipes completely removed.
And that leads perfectly into Section 3, the hidden financial drain.
So, when a drain starts slowing down, what do we usually do? We compensate, right? On the one hand, that looks like a modest day-to-day change. You might run a bit more water or extend the rinse cycle on your dishwasher just to push things through. But look at the compound effect here. This extra compensation drives up your overall water usage and really strains the whole wastewater system, especially if you cook a lot or have a big family. Plus, and this is a big one, poor flow actually increases stress on your water heater. It has to work so much harder to keep up with the demand when multiple appliances are all fighting against the sluggish drainage.
Now for Section 4, damage beneath the surface.
Completely out of sight, there is some serious structural chaos unfolding. That persistent buildup we talked about, it creates these really rough internal surfaces inside the pipe that trap debris even faster. It's a vicious cycle. And here's the thing, even if the problem seems like it's just in one bathroom sink, the actual root cause could be way deeper in your plumbing line. Mineral scale doesn't just slow down your water, it actually contributes to pipe corrosion over time. This cause and effect relationship means a slow drain can literally eat away at the metal, which can lead to completely hidden, unseen leaks behind your walls.
But wait, it's not just the water that gets blocked. Check out these venting issue symptoms. Sometimes these clogs actually impact the pipe's venting system. If the venting gets restricted, your drainage becomes totally airless or inconsistent. You might start hearing those weird, creepy, gurgling sounds coming from the drain. And untreated vent issues, that means the damage is no longer localized to just one sink. It can cascade into widespread performance problems across multiple fixtures throughout your entire house. The whole shebang.
Which brings us to Section 5, act before emergency strike.
Okay, so we need to shift gears and talk about what we as homeowners can actually do, because early intervention is absolutely crucial. Now let's talk about our natural instinct to play mad scientist. We all do it. We grab those DIY chemical cleaners, pour them down the sink, and pray for magic cure. But the sources show they often completely fail to remove the real underlying cause, like solid buildup or heavy grease. Even worse, they can be total saboteurs.
They can damage older plumbing materials and leave behind residues that make professional cleaning a nightmare later on. Instead, you want to focus on the mechanical methods. We're talking plungers actually designed for sinks, proper drain snakes, putting in routine hair catchers, and just regularly cleaning out your strainers. These are your real heroes for stopping the problem early on.
But if that slowdown just persists, that is a loud and clear signal for you to stop experimenting. If multiple fixtures are acting up or your basic clearing attempts are failing, you have to identify the actual root cause. At that point, it's really time to bite the bullet and have the plumbing inspected by a professional. You want to do this before that slightly annoying slow drain turns into a literal, full-blown emergency.
And this right here is exactly why acting early is so vital. Just consider this powerful takeaway directly from our sources. Quote, "The real cost is rarely just the final service call. It also includes downtime, cleanup, and the risk of water damage to surrounding cabinets, floors, drywall, or ceilings." End quote. I mean, really think about that for a second. You aren't just paying a plumber for an hour of their time. You are risking your wallet on replacing warped hardwood floors, tearing out soggy drywall, and totally giving up your weekend downtime to clean up a disastrous mess. No thanks.
So let's boil all of this down to the single most practical takeaway from today's explainer. Treat a slow drain as an early warning, not just a nuisance that you can wait out. Timing is absolutely everything here. Addressing the root cause early on is the one thing that prevents those massive, wildly expensive, and incredibly stressful problems down the road. I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Next time you're standing at your sink or in your shower, ask yourself, is your slow drain trying to give you an early warning right now? Don't wait for the pipe to tell you the hard way with a massive backup. Go check your plumbing, use those mechanical methods we talked about, and stay ahead of the curve. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. I hope you found this breakdown as fascinating and useful as I did, and I will catch you in the next one.